You are now rocking with the queen, and it's time to get real.
What's up? What's up? It's your girl AB. It's another episode of 30, Flirty, and Thriving. I'm here today with PK, Pretty Ken.
Hey. What's up, Shawty? What camera I'm looking into?
Oh, this is your camera, right?
That's me. All right. What's that, AB?
Well, good. So, okay. Who is PK?
Who is PK? PK is a dude from the west side of Atlanta.
Born and raised?
Born and raised. Started music back in 1993.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
You've been through every big name that anybody probably knows of that came out of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
You were an artist at one point, but you really shined in, do I say creating talent?
Artist development.
Artist development. So that's where you really shined at. What made you transition from the art of music to wanting to be more on the business end of it, or more wanting to develop others?
Well, the funny part is I love music. When I started rapping before, like I said, it was me, Cee-Lo. We were a group back in the day. And so it was me, Cee-Lo, and Big Boy and Dre. But I didn't really, I liked it. I definitely liked the rapping and all that. But I was more into being able to just put all the pieces together for other people. And to be able to, I just always had vision. I always had vision. Always thought bigger. Always knew things could be bigger, better. Once I figured out that was really my talent. And it was fun. I was a producer first. That's what I was. So I produced for years, but I ain't really like just sitting in the studio all day. That ain't my thing.
So you've done a little bit of everything. You've been an artist. You've been a producer. You've helped talent. So do you feel like because you've been a part and you've had your hand in so many different areas of the industry that you really, like, that adds to your value as...
Absolutely. It makes me the shit at what I do. It makes me the shit at what I do because, like I tell artists all the time now, I'm like, hey, man, listen. The guy that I am now, I used to hate talking to. But the cool part about what I do is I'm able to be aware of each situation from both sides. So I used to be the artist. I used to be the extra creative guy who wanted everything. And now I'm the guy that was on the other side of the table that had to deliver shit and had to make him understand what he could have and what he couldn't have right now. So now I bring both worlds together.
So now that you're on the other side, what is your biggest frustration?
So my biggest frustration is trying to move around in the industry full of bullshitters. So when I'm trying to tell you something, there's nothing in what I'm telling you. I'm literally telling you this to win. Like, that's why I tell even the groups I mess with now, I'm like, hey man, this shit is literally like Back to the Future for me. Like, I know exactly what's gonna happen. I've been exactly where you are. It's just like almost like like your dad or your mom, someone used to tell you, like, hey man, if you do this, I'm telling you, this is gonna happen.
I know the outcome. I've been there.
I'm telling you what's right. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. But you got so many bullshitters that sell these dreams and tell these dudes, hey, just do it like this, do it like that. And it's like, that's not real. They don't really know what they're talking about. They just shooting in the dark. I'm telling you how to hit targets.
So what do you say to someone who says, well, PK, I mean, you started doing this in 93. Things have changed. Times have changed. We got social media now. Right. Things are different. Like, what do you say to that?
Nothing's changed but the platforms. You just got more platforms to do the shit on. The engagement, the strategies, everything about this is nothing changes. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed since the beginning when marketing became important. It's just different platforms to do it on. Marketing is all about human behavior. That doesn't change.
So what do you say for an artist who is, trying to get on? They want to be a superstar. They want to create music that can be heard around the world. And they feel like, oh, well, all I got to do is blow up on social media. What advice do you have, or what do you have to say to them as far as like these are the proper steps that need to be taken?
First of all, there, and if you ever hear me, you've been around me a lot to hear me talk about star. I'm all about star power. So there's different levels for different people. Uh, some people are only gonna be good enough for the internet. So yeah, that may be what you need to do. Uh, the reason I like stars is because it's more of a campaign approach. It's slapping, dap, kissing babies. Put them in a room. They can take the room. They can control the room, change the energy in the room. Most 90% of these dudes can't do that. So that's why the stars are very few right now. So everybody's on the internet. You take those dudes off the internet and you put them in a room without music and
See what they can do. What you gonna do? How you gonna move the room?
get lost every time. And you got dudes who just walk in the room and it's just like, it's on. You know what I mean? That is what I'm more interested in. I don't, and like I tell people all the time when they bring me dudes, I'm like, hey man, I'm not telling you what you're doing won't work. I'm just telling you what you're doing don't work for what I do. You see what I'm saying? I have a certain style of what I do, and it takes a certain type of person for me to be effective. So if I did what I do on a dude that's not a star, it wouldn't work. So now I look crazy like I don't know what I'm doing when it was just the wrong guy. So the places I'm gonna put you in, that's not your space. So you're gonna get exposed, you're gonna look crazy.
Everything is not for everybody. So what maybe something else will work for them, but what you do is not gonna work for them. So but like you said in the beginning, you have that vision to know if y'all got that, it's gonna work or it's not gonna work.
Because I don't sell music, I sell people. So and most of these people are just music.
Do you have to teach artists sometimes music, like the art of, or how to do music in a way that sells?
I never forget one time when I was young, I told L.A. Reid, I said, man, you don't even do beats. He was just like, you're right. I make hits. I do songs. And I was just like, yeah, you're right.
So it's more than the beat. It's every component.
It's a song. So what I do is I just show them how to make a song. So even if they come with this old, oh man, well that's the style. That's this style, this style. I'm like, the world don't hear styles. The world hear music. So if the melody ain't right, the rhythm, the everything about a song has a chemistry. And if you go back and listen to any hit song, it's gonna have that chemistry. And there's no way around it. And so that's what I teach. Like, okay, yeah, I understand the styles, I understand this the new thing, but I'm telling you, there's a small group of people that's gonna get that. If you're trying to sell records and make money, make it for the world, make it for everybody. I used to be that guy making music for everybody around me or producing for other producers. But I learned later, like, hey man, make music for the world to make money. Make everything to sell. You're not making it for yourself.
Right. It's not about you. It's not about what you like.
If you're here to make money and you're here to be successful, make music to sell.
So what do you say to the artists who are into music for the passion? They obviously want to make money, but it's because they're passionate about it. Is there a way to kind of transfuse their passion with the ability to sell?
First of all, you're in this to make money.
Okay.
Your passion is to make money. If you're not here to make money, just go to work and rap at work. You can rap on your lunch break. You can rap at your desk. You can do all that. But if you got other people involved, don't waste our time. Because my passion is to make you make money.
So for those who don't know, who have you worked with? Because I know you've worked with a lot of people, and I don't know if it's too much to say you're responsible for, but you've had your hand in.
So what I do is I've worked, of course, with a lot of people, of course. But what I do more than anything is I'm like the coach in the booth.
So you just behind the scenes. Do you think that's why you kind of transitioned out of being an artist and being so to get behind the scenes, like to not be at the forefront of everything?
That's never been my game to be in the front, to be seen, to be heard, or this and that. I've never had, I've never wanted to be that. That ain't just, I'm going to be seen and heard regardless. Uh, like I say, I've always loved other people's talent. I love being around people who do shit better than me. I love celebrating people's success. So nothing gives me that feeling like seeing something go from down here to up there. And this may sound crazy, but I've just never been excited about my own success. If that making sense. So that's what does it for me, like just being able to call the plays, get a game, bam, 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 and watch this dude just go through the roof.
What's kept you in it for almost 30 years?
It's something I just love. I love to see, like I say, I love to see. I just love to help develop the new talent. I just love it. It's just something I'm always do. And it's not even in music. It's everything. Like no matter what somebody's doing, if I have something to offer it, that's just what I'm gonna do. I don't care if you got a chicken wing stand.
So you'll never retire?
No, hell no. I think retirement is being able to do what you want to do when you want to.
And that's what you've been doing for 30 years.
Right? That's what I've been doing for 30 years.
It's the way to do it, y'all. That's why we're here.
Hey man, you know what I mean? So it's just I don't of course you know I did my show, my podcast. And even with that it was just like I did it just to have fun, just to have conversations with my partners, tell stories that they couldn't tell with nobody else. And I just wanted to create a space where we could have a conversation without somebody trying to pick out the bull in it and sell the drama or whatever. You know what I mean? That was cool. That was fun. I'll probably get back to that. It just took a lot.
I know.
The only way I want to do that is if I could just show up and be the talent. I don't want to do nothing else. If I could show up and just talk, that's all I want to do. And go on about my business.
I feel it.
Yeah, so that was a lot. It was cool. It was a lot, but it was cool. So now I got the group, the new group.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I've been seeing you because it was like you. I feel like you was kind of chill for a minute. It was real quiet, and then all of a sudden I start seeing these posts. I'm like, okay, something's going on. Something's cooking.
I don't do things until I know it's right. So I take years before I do one thing.
Oh, I know.
You try to know. Because and here's the thing, it's not because I'm slow. It's because I put so much of myself in it. Like I got this thing. I say, listen, when I'm in it, this shit is gonna work, or this shit is gonna hurt. Ain't nothing in between. We're gonna win it all, or I'm gonna lose it all. I don't know how to do it no other way. So I have to be very spot on with who I decide to get at to. And it's not hard to see. So as soon as I see it, it's like, let's go.
So how did you come about this group that you're working with now?
Man, crazy. So the jeweler they go to called me. He was just like, PK, I got this dude you should hook up with. I like, cool. He sent me like 2 guys before that would tell me. So I met him. We talked like 2 hours, realistically about 2 hours before we even said anything about music. Because you know, for me, like the music is the easiest part. It's just like I just told you, I sell people, so I need to know who I'm talking to, what I'm talking to, and can you even pull off what I do? So we talked, we kicked it. I like him, he was a cool little dude, but it was just him. So we talking, and I said, well, I got to meet everybody else first. And that man picked up the phone, made a call, and now at this time, he was in Atlanta. He was here for a couple of days, but everybody else was in LA. He got on the phone, hit me, he said, got on the phone, put the phone down and said, shit, well, everybody be here tomorrow. I said, hold up. I said, well, let me tell you something. These motherfucking land, If they land in Atlanta tomorrow, it's on. They came in town the next day.
Dang.
Went to the studio, started recording, and they left, went back to LA. And I was talking back and forth with them. And I said, let me just see, let me make sure. So I jumped on the plane and went and met them out there. And when I got a chance to see all of them together doing their shit, I was just like, I was able to see the different characters, who brought what, who did what, who was gonna be what. And I sat there and watched that. And I was like, I'm in. I said, hey man, when y'all come to Atlanta, let's record some, because they weren't a group.
They weren't a group.
Nah, they were like a couple of solo dudes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were doing songs together, but they were really like solo dudes. So we talked about being a group, like, hey man, let's be this super group. And they were already with it. So I said, well, y'all come to Atlanta, let's cut some records. They got on the plane, came to, now this is the funny part. Their car was broken into the night before they were coming to Atlanta. All their shit was stolen, all their money, all their clothes. And they still got on the plane and came to Atlanta.
No excuses.
So this is all the stuff I'm looking at. We ain't even got no music yet. This is what got me ready to go.
Right.
Because I know the music is the easiest part. They got to Atlanta, we started cutting records. By the third or fourth record, I was like, hey man, y'all want to just stay? They were like, hell yeah, we ain't got to go back. And like, so you know what I mean? So when people think I'm tripping about little stuff, like they don't understand, this is the stuff that means everything. You can get the best rapper, the best singer, best whatever in the world. This is the part that's going to determine where they sit on the charts, where they sit in this industry. The most talented people sitting at home on the couch, they're not going to do the work like that. And that's something I learned over the years. So I'm not, like people tell you all the time, like when people call me like, hey, well, I want you to hear something. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear no music. I don't care. I don't care about the music. Bring him to me. Let me see him. Let me talk to him. Let me just watch him. And most of the time, when they bring him, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Man, why? I say, he don't work for what I do. Well, see, and the problem is, and I hate to sound like an old guy, everything is so watered down and average right now that if you are a little better than the average guy, you think you the man. When it's like, man, it's 6 more levels.
Not only that, but I feel like it's a lot of people who think they're the man because they have, some social clout, or because they got a couple of followers, or they got one viral video, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's certain things like that that make them think that they're the next thing.
It's funny because I tell people all the time, I'm like, you think he's a star until a star walk in the room. Then, and this is what you got to remember too. Like, most people hadn't even gotten the chance to be around that type of energy, and how that shit just moves the room, and just how they ain't never seen it. So when I talk it, I know they don't really get it. They think, like you said, the followers or the attention they get on. Think about this. Most people got all these followers, but they ain't got no engagement. They don't even understand that that's what they looking at. So if I got 10,000 followers and I'm getting 80% engagement, and you got 1,000,000 followers and getting 20% engagement or 10%.
And people do look at that now, though.
That's all they look at now. Yeah, because they've gotten over. Like I tell people all the time, hey man, I got these, nigga. Listen, you talking about you got 100,000 followers. Get 100 people to spend $20 with you, and then come talk to me. 100 people to spend $20 with you, and then come talk to me. It's not support unless somebody's spending money. You know what I mean?
Because there's a lot of people who, like I said, followers and whatever. Yeah. But how many tickets can you sell to your show?
Talk to me. Like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I don't. And so now you talking about what you just said earlier about how do you feel about people saying, yeah, you started back then, but now it's a new social, new this. People don't change. Back then, you actually had to get out and be engaged and talk to people. And that is the way where people figured you out quick. Now you can hide on the internet. Think about this. How many dudes would shoot they shot at you on the internet, but if they saw you in person, they wouldn't say one thing?
I would say 97%.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So that's what the industry is now. Think about it. When the pandemic hit, nobody was able to do shows. Everybody went away. Only the personality stood out and did better. Little Bootsy did good. What's the boy name? Tory Lane, Gillen, Wallow, and but think about what rappers you didn't hear. Like Baby did good. But think about all the rappers you didn't hear anything about. Like even during that pandemic, when certain people on there performing, and there was one dude, he was performing, he was jamming, doing all the songs everybody liked. But then he started talking, and I'm sitting there like, dog, you finna blow it. You losing them. You losing them. You not that you're a performer, you're a singer. You don't have that. Like, no, somebody should be like, let's go to the next song.
When you're working with artists, obviously there's like a whole bureaucratic, like business aspect of the industry that I think is really hard for artists to understand, to work through. So how do you help them navigate that?
First of all, what you mean by it's hard for them to work through?
I think that a lot of artists just create and they don't even know where to begin when it comes to the business of music.
Definitely, absolutely. So what I do is when I create or when I develop the right situation, I like to put right people in place. So it depends on what level you're working on. You need that person that can handle that level. Some things are going to be super big, and it takes a certain person that can handle that level of work. You're going to have some people who are like under that. It's a certain person who can work that. Like, for instance, if I went and got Benny Medina, right? Whoever, J-Lo manager, whoever, just somebody big, and put him with a little
hood rapper,
Benny would blow it because he wouldn't know where to put it. He's his arena and the way he does is on another level. So, and not saying this guy isn't good. It's just it wouldn't work. When the partnership wouldn't work. So you have to go get someone that understands where he is in this area he's in and how to make this work. That's why I say it's important to put people in places they're supposed to be. That's why I told you earlier, there's certain artists that I wouldn't do good with because I'm gonna put them in rooms they're not supposed to be in.
right?
But that's my formula, so I got to stick to my formula, and my formula only works with a certain type of people. Your team is the most important thing in this.
Absolutely. You need a good team.
But I don't give a damn. If you look at anybody successful, look at the people around them. That's why. You know what I mean? Like Drake. Come on, man. Everybody know Drake got a hell of a team and always had. Like, and he ain't changing people out. Like, they have a formula and they're moving. So if that don't show you, I don't know what the hell will.
Let me ask you, I'm going to take you back. Did you ever have any like formal training, schooling, education? This is all just
all bumps and bruises.
You just figuring out along the way.
You gotta think, ain't nobody ever taught us nothing. Like we didn't have mentors coming up. Yeah. Especially in music. All the old dudes just took advantage of us. They didn't.
And that's the thing is like I feel like, even back in the day, because I've loved music since I knew what music was and have always done or been a part of it in some way, shape, or form. And I felt like looking back, I feel like I was just so ignorant. Like I didn't know anything. And when I would try to find out information, and I mean, when I tell you when the internet kind of first came out and I first had access to a computer, I was like the credits on the CDs and stuff, I was figuring out who the writers were, and I was like emailing them and asking them like, hi, no, I'm like nobody, but how did you get into writing music and stuff like that? And like nobody would ever respond. I was like, oh, I could sell you a list for $1,000 of like people who you can send your music to, and I'm like, okay, that's not helpful. But so I feel like you're right. There was no mentors, and I felt like, at least in my experience, I had felt very, very sure of finding anyone who would give free game or who would take me under the wing and say, hey, this is how you do it. And that's a lot of the reason why I do the podcast and why I have such a heavy emphasis on speaking to producers, managers, artists, everything, because, you know, for the people who like me, it's like they're just trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, let me ask the questions and have the conversations that hopefully can give them some of the information that they need to be able to take the next step.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now is the best time for music because it's the easiest time to do it. So you got to think, when we were coming up, you really had gatekeepers. You really had people who could blackball you and shut something down.
It's still gatekeepers, right?
No, I'm gonna tell you. This is what I'm telling you. If anybody can stop you or shut you down from what you're trying to do now, you suck. You suck. Because everybody has access to the exact same platform now. This is the first time you have direct access to the consumer. You don't need radio. You don't need none of these folk no more. If you got some real work in you and you go hard, can't nobody stop you.
Or how do you feel about the market being oversaturated? Like, you're right, everybody.
Before we go to that.
Okay.
Because clearly you think there's still gatekeepers.
I do. I just.
In what, music?
Yeah. Well, I think for everything, but particularly with the entertainment industry, just as a whole, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's, film.
Now I say film, maybe. I don't even know that. Not definitely sports. But music is just like, you can literally wake up in the morning, make a song, sit on the internet 12 hours a day for the next 2 weeks, and have the biggest record going.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm saying that I think once you get to a certain level, I feel like it's like Mario Brothers. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can play all these levels and you can get to them, but eventually you're gonna have to meet Bowser. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have to.
This is the biggest problem. This is what we got to realize. They don't have the power that you think they have. Your power is people. If I have a hot dog stand, I must have hot dogs to stay open. But I can sell hot dogs without a hot dog stand. You are always the most important. Now think about this. Right now, if somebody went out there and got just say a dude went out there and got 2-3 million people behind him right now just moving. Selling out shows, doing all this shit independent. Guess what they're doing? Losing their fucking mind.
Yeah. And at that point, feel like they don't really need a label. What they need a label for if they're able to do it all on their own?
Why are we talking about this? So it's only a gatekeeper if you want to be involved in their business.
So that's why we're talking about it, is because I think that it's, for some people, still a newer concept of like, well, I can really do this on my own. I think that it's becoming more of an idea, but I think that for a lot of artists, and maybe it's for a lot of artists who haven't had a lot of exposure and just for whatever reason don't know, but they feel like the win is to get a deal. They feel like the win is to sign with a label.
And you still gonna have people like that. Even when they know better, they still gonna think like that. Because the work ethic, the level of disappointment that it takes to be independent and be successful, 90% of the world ain't ready to take that. So they're only gatekeepers because you create the gatekeeper. You create someone being able to say, this is good enough or that ain't good enough. Because you asking.
I think that for some people, maybe they don't have the team or the support or whatever, and they feel like, well, if I give it a label, I'll have those pieces. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And like you said, there's always going to be those people.
And guess what the trick is now? The label are calling the same people you able to call now. If you talking about digital marketing, everything that got anything to do with music, they all independent contractors that we all call. My little brother, he manages some of the biggest influencers on TikTok and Instagram and all that. They have to call him. I call him. So if we're going back to your question about how the times has changed, it's better. It leveled out the playing field.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's the problem is that for some people.
Now listen. I tell people this all the time. The greatest thing about this internet is everybody has access to it. Mm-hmm. The terrible part about the internet is everybody has access.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it is what it is. It's just like the quality is always going. As long as you stay at it, it's always going to make it to the top. It ain't no way around it. Think about this. Like I got a partner who just started a podcast, and he was like, he's been very consistent, and he's like, man, look, if I see 2 more listeners or followers this week, that's all that matters. If I see 2 more next week, 2 more next week, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But most people got to look at it like, I start off with 2 this week, but if I don't have 100 next week, then it's failed. So they always say most podcasts only make it a couple of episodes before they stop doing it because they just don't see the growth.
Hey, and it's episode 60, so we made it, baby. We made it.
When I was talking to Pandora, that's what they were telling me. They were like, yeah, most people don't, because they don't see the numbers that they're looking for or need to see. But yeah, it ain't no gatekeepers, man. Just do your thing. What we do have that they don't have, they can't get out there and touch people without it costing them money the way we can. We'll pull up in the city in the van and stay for a week. And we're going to every neighborhood. We're going everything. By the time we leave this city, everybody gonna be asking about it.
That's like that old school guerrilla marketing.
So that's why you look at rock bands to this day, and you ain't heard of them in a while, and you're like, how in the hell they still living like this? Yeah, because they went out and created real fans. When bands used to get signed, the labels used to get them a van. That's all they got, a van and some per diem. They wouldn't even cut an album. Come back when you got the fans up. Go build your fan base. Then we'll cut an album.
So now, do you feel like our record labels, because I'm not sure how it works, but are they like, all right, here, go on Instagram and get some fans and then come talk to us.
That's exactly.
So
and
now
it's not
like,
real fans.
Yeah.
It's not real fans. So that's the difference. So you saying go get these numbers up. They're not the same numbers. Because
it's not the same effort,
how many people,
support,
how many
love.
can we sit here and just scroll through right now? And shit we might like and we don't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
We ain't even gonna look at it or think about it again.
Yeah. No, or I mean honestly, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I see you all post a little snippet of a song, but I don't actually go listen to the whole song. I'm just trying to support you.
Never.
That's kind of how I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, never. That's just real though.
Yeah.
That's real. So it's like, but the things you're interested in, you give it time.
Yeah, you look into it. Yeah. That's crazy, but but I think that's really good advice for anybody listening or watching, because sometimes you got to think outside the box. Like that's where we're at now. Everything is social, everything is online, everything is digital, but that's the very reason why you probably should be out in a van and doing things different, because you want to catch people's attention. And that's what I was going to ask you earlier about the internet being oversaturated. And it's like, I don't want to listen to everybody's music who wants me to listen to it. I don't want to go watch every YouTube video. It's so much, and I don't have the energy to try to figure out what I like, what I don't like, what's good, what's not good.
So that's why and back to what I was saying about the way I do what I do, I sell people, not products. People are going to connect with people.
Yeah.
People buy people. People don't buy products. I said all the time, if you're an artist and you're just a song, when the song go off, you go off. How many people are you interested in hearing what they had to say?
Right. Yeah.
It's a difference. And people don't realize why I'm always talking about that. But once again, there are levels to doing this. And the only level I can play on is at the top. That's the only one that makes sense for me. Anything under that ain't gonna satisfy my appetite for success.
If you could give one piece of advice to somebody interested in music, whether they want to be an artist or whether they want to just be in the business, they want to be a manager, they want to be a producer, they want to be a sound engineer, whatever, what would you say to them?
What are you willing to lose?
What are you willing to lose?
That's it. What you willing to lose for what you want? Because that's where it starts.
Okay.
If you ain't with your success, the level of success you have is going to be based on the level of what you're willing to lose. That's it.
Okay.
And don't listen to no. Don't listen. It takes this much belief to be successful. It takes this much doubt to be a failure. Keep them suckers out from around you.
Build a strong team.
When you believe, most of the time you're gonna be the only one that believes in what you're trying to do. If you find one person that believes in you the way you believe in you, ride it out with them. Because all it takes is that one little doubt to get in that circle, and it'll never work.
Yeah.
You got to be out your mind. You got to be, think about this, we're in the most ridiculous business in the world. Nobody needs what we do.
Nobody needs what we do to live, but everybody needs music. Like, music fuels everything.
Think about that. We're in the business where we're telling people, hey, your life will be better if you rock with me.
Right.
You got to be out your mind. It's a business where you have to be out of your mind to succeed at a certain level. You have to be cool with looking crazy. And I say that because of the way we raised and the way the world was set up to kill confidence. They've made it now where the confident person in the room looks like the crazy person in the room. The person that believes in itself now looks like the crazy person. So you have to be willing to look like that to win.
You gotta be ready to stand out, not blend in.
That's the only way it works. It don't work no other way.
Okay. So for those who want to learn more about you, want to see what you're up to, want to see what your group is up to that you're working with, how can they find you and follow you?
I'm on Instagram. That's pretty much it. PK_ATL. And the group is called Cultway. CULTWAY. Cultway Global is their Instagram. We're gonna be dropping a record in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. All right.
And we're rolling. We're getting ready to shoot videos next week. So we on.
Well, thank you so much.
We appreciate
I'm so
you,
glad I got
AB.
to sit down and have a conversation with you.
I appreciate you, AB.